Hello, everybody. We're back here with Brad today for another episode of the podcast. Brad, you just got back from all sorts of places, didn't you?
I think I haven't seen my bed until Tuesday night after about 3 weeks. But yes, been around the world and back.
Absolutely. So one thing I want to talk to you about, something we talked about like in Colorado was like developing agents and recruiting. And I was wondering, like, what's the first step for a new agent?
If somebody's not licensed yet, obviously, once they get excited about what we do or want to learn more about the supplemental insurance business, obviously we got a process to get them licensed. Usually we'll connect them with a course, a 10 chapter or an 18 chapter course through Excel Testing Solutions, and that really goes over everything that you need to be able to take the test and hopefully pass that test. But we want to put them through that, get them, let them take the test, get them licensed.
What kind of license are they testing for?
Usually, every state's a little bit different, but for the most part, it's health and accident, and sometimes life if people want to sell life insurance, if agents want to sell life insurance as well. I recommend just going ahead and doing one for the health, accident, and life, so really a two-part, just to get it all done at one time, because a lot of the questions are the same.
So after they get their license, like, what's the process from there? I mean, they get licensed, they get contracted. I guess the big thing would be training, right? How do you train and develop your agents?
Right. A lot goes into that, but to get boots on the ground quick, for instance, I was just in South Bend, Indiana on Monday doing a training session for some new agents there. And really what we want to do is just walk them through the process. And what that looks like is just sharing what we do front to back. But from an agent standpoint, we have a whole back office, a whole document library that gives agents scripts to go along with a presentation. I think the first thing for any agent should be learn how to prepare or give the proper presentation. Zig Ziglar says the best sale happens with a planned presentation. So that'll always be the foundation and the core of what we do is learning how to give a presentation, what we call as a demo. From there, it's teaching them how to give the right elevator pitch, how to create activity, so that way they can get people interested in what we do, and then they're able to sit down with potential clients and share with them that presentation, which is going to address all of the sales things like the proper closes, buying atmosphere, building a need, and then from there, there's a whole back. That's where at Empower Financial Group of USA, we're going to provide all the back office support to make sure that the business gets processed, to make sure that payroll gets set up for clients. But then there's agents that just want to sell individually, want to sell individual family members or friends and people that they run into to get them protected. So we provide that training for them. We do agent meetings about once a quarter anywhere in the United States, but we really get out in the field and work and hold new agents' hands while they go see people. I always tell people the best part of the training is failing forward, going out, stumbling through things with people that you know, because that's going to prepare you and with a lot of the questions, a lot of the objections, so you start figuring those things out when you have to deviate away from that script, away from that presentation.
Absolutely, kind of getting your teeth kicked in almost.
I say it all the time. The biggest way to fail forward is get your teeth kicked in a few times. It starts to hurt after a while, so you start to get educated.
So it seems like maybe the hardest thing for people, and the thing that you really push, is just setting the meeting, getting yourself in front of clients and allowing yourself to get the experience of just talking to somebody and trying to sell and create that buying atmosphere.
That's our motto at Empower Financial Group of USA. You've been to some of our meetings for 2025 is just get the appointment set. Set the appointment. Some of our leaders will come in and help close the deals for the agents and help get them across the finish line so they can realize that time to money, which means, time to get started to the time you see money in your bank account.
One of the big things at the Denver meeting, the one we were just at, was I noticed there was a lot of like trying to get people more fired up and back out and like reinvigorated almost. And it seems like one of the big things is incentives. It seems like there's a lot of incentives for even new agents just getting their foot in the door. They're able to earn things. And I was wondering if you could kind of walk us through some of the things that Empower and Washington offers for agents to go out and sell and just like rewards almost.
Absolutely. At Empower Financial Group of USA, what we've really strived to do is create strategic partnerships with the carriers that we work with. And the main carrier being Washington National. They've done a really good job of stepping up and supporting us as brokers and the agents with some fanfare and with some bonuses. The best thing that drives sales is incentives, fanfare. So as a new agent with us, when you come on, when you write your first $35,000 in premium, when you're part of Empower Financial Group, because of our relationship, you get a $2,000 quick start bonus. So all you have to do is get $35,000 worth of annual premium sold, and the very following week you're going to have $2,000 in cash bonus hit your bank account. But then we set up a quarterly bonus where you start getting paid based on different levels of premium in a quarter, and most of our agents average between $5,000 to $7,000 worth of cash bonuses every quarter.
Wow.
Now, that's just the cash bonuses. Then there's recruiting bonuses. So as a new agent, if you're recruiting and bringing other agents to the team, all they have to do is sell a specific level of premium, which is pretty obtainable, and you're going to get paid a $500 bonus on every agent that you bring to the table that writes some premium. But then, as well as I do, you've been around for a little bit, we have trips. We like to work really hard and play a whole lot harder. But it creates great synergy and that family feeling when you get to travel with people that you like, that feel like your family. So like this year, first quarter trip, we went to Scottsdale, Arizona, spent a great time in Old Town Scottsdale, hung around the pool, went and had some great dinners, and it was just such a relaxing trip compared to some that we go on. We got to all sit around and just break bread together and fellowship, and it was pretty cool. We're about to end second quarter. Our second quarter trip for this year is to Cabo, which is an amazing. Two of our agents that we work with got married there a couple years ago, but we're going to go back to Hard Rock and Cabo. But we set a sales threshold, so when you hit that sales threshold, you get all inclusive, all trip all accommodations and travel paid for two people. And usually when an agent makes it on one, they don't want to miss any others. So that's what's really cool is when our agents get to spend time together, and it's neat to watch them form these relationships that go on for years, where now all of a sudden people that met on trips are starting to do things individually with their families, or going and doing things together, or figuring out how to work together on some things. We've got really cool celebrations that we do yearly, where we're going to do a trip to the British Virgin Islands on a private catamaran. We're just always trying to figure out a way to incentivize and more importantly, reward the agents that come to work with us.
Absolutely. I think it was kind of big what you mentioned with like the family thing. One thing I noticed in Denver is like when we were there, it seemed like a lot of the agents had already formed, like a lot of the agents who have been there for a while already had like friendships and stuff, and they were very outgoing, especially with like newer agents. And I feel like it created like an atmosphere where people are very willing to help the new guy too. But there's another thing I want to talk about, and that's that like you're not just helping to empower the newer guys start out. It seems like a lot of these people who've been here for a while are starting to form their own companies. And
right.
I was wondering how you kind of help people navigate that landscape and how you empower them to, do their own thing.
Absolutely. It's a great thought. A lot of people think when you come work here, you or work with us, you're just an agent, you're just going and selling, but not really. I teach, and probably one of my greatest mottos in Empower Financial Group of USA is you're the president of your own company. So we want to teach you how to think, not just like an entry-level sales guy, but how to build a business. right? And some of our best agents in America are not just agents; they're other brokers that do other things. We work with a lot of health insurance brokers in the United States that don't really do what we do, but we bring value to their business and what they do. We work with a lot of P&C, property and casualty brokers that don't do what we do, but we help them by bringing value to their clients, showing them how to bring tax savings to their clients that they get to see an immediate impact. And then usually what happens is a health insurance broker and or any other kind of insurance broker are usually having renewals where they're having to increase premiums. Well, what better way than to work with us where we bring tax savings to help offset that increase? But the big goal of that is yes, the big picture is you don't have to be an independent agent. You don't have to necessarily be an Empower agent. We can just be your partner. You can own your own business, and it could be Chance Van Landingham Insurance, Chance Van Landingham Consultants, and we're your just back office support, and we're going to create that partnership. And one, I promise you, we're going to make you more money than you've ever made before doing what you do.
Absolutely.
Without you having to do all the work. And two, we are going to bring value to your clients that you're not currently bringing. So it creates a really cool partnership. And our first thing, the last thing that we really strive to do is not put brokers in competition with each other. The other part of that is just thinking like a business owner, because when you start to think like a business owner, the sky's the limit. Zig Ziglar says you got to put something in to get something out. Well, when you realize you start making an investment into yourself and an investment into business, you're going to start to reap a lot more rewards. You're going to get more out of it. Absolutely. So that when you start to think like a business owner instead of an employee or an agent, all of a sudden your mental blocks and your horizons start opening up, and you just start seeing so much more success, and people start to enjoy their success a little differently.
Absolutely, yeah. So it seems like there's a lot of encouragement, not just with like the newer agents, but the older agents. And what I've kind of realized is it's not just like you do a lot to help people, but you also have a team of experienced agents that go out, like John and Nick, that are always willing to hop on a Zoom call and help people out. How do you manage to just keep uplifting people?
No, it's all right. The way you do it is you got to have a servant mentality, right? When you're leading a business, or when you're trying to develop people to develop their own business, the key is that you have to be able to inject into others. And when you're doing things for the right reason and you're injecting into others and trying to help close deals for others, all of a sudden that picture, there's so many groups, IMOs, big organizations in America that use their agents as ATM machines. They don't get out in the field, and they don't go work, and they don't go close deals. They don't even know how to give a presentation or how to talk about tax code or how to present an insurance product right. What they do is they know how to recruit and dangle shiny things in front of people.
Yeah.
But that only lasts for so long, right? I want to build true long-term relationships, and how you do that is you truly help people get from point A to point B and show them how to grow and have long-term wealth instead of work really hard this year, make some money, but then what are we going to do next year?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want people to have to work their entire life. I want to show them how to build long-term wealth, and that's why people get in the insurance business, not for a one-time sale. And how you do that is you lead from the front. That's why you have leaders. That's why I go sell every day, so people can see that I do it every day, and if I'm doing it, surely they can do it. I'm going and selling on my own, producing business on my own, and trying to help other agents get going and become better and start seeing that increase in income. So that's the best way to do it, is just to inject into other people.
How do you manage to not keep things competitive? Because it seems like, with what I've heard from other people and other companies, it seems like insurance can get pretty competitive, people after the same clients and stuff. And so how do you manage to keep it to where it's not a competitive atmosphere where all the agents are at each other's necks?
It's a great story. Don't be small-minded thinker. You know, a lot of people start thinking about territories and small towns.
Yeah.
Though I got the whole United States. I don't try to recycle existing clients. I just go get new clients. And when you do that, you're not always, you start thinking in a growth mentality and a win mentality instead of a defensive mentality. Where things become really, really competitive and people start to think improperly is they don't go find new clients. They take the same client they got and they're trying to keep going to that same client every year, selling them more products.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden now, and you're more worried about losing that client than you are about the bigger picture and just getting new clients. So the way you do that is and then from a leadership standpoint, share with your agents. You know, I've got a lot, I would say 75% of my premium is premium in accounts that I share and co-write with other agents. So it becomes a team effort instead of a competitive effort.
It kind of goes back to what we were saying, like when you just get the meeting and you come in and help, you know, the newer agents close. Is that what you're kind of talking about with those shared accounts?
Two things. So some accounts we have strategic partnerships where I'm doing the closing, getting everything set up, doing the work, and then giving that partner a percentage of that. But then I've got others where agents, I just go help them get it closed, and then they do everything on their own.
Yeah.
The reality is I never ever want an agent or a broker to feel like they're competing against me at all.
Yeah.
If they're in an account, it's my job to bring value to that agent by helping them get that account across the line, and then they own that business. If they choose to give me a little bit for my time, that's great, but I'm already, you know, they're part of my organization. They're already part of the team. They're already benefiting me. There's no need for me to take anything from that.
So it seems like in order to not create a competitive environment, you have to be willing to help your agents out and, you know, not be greedy and, you know, steal it out from under them.
Absolutely. We that's not what we teach here. You know, I think another thing to mention about, and this is just me going back to the incentives, you know, if you're watching this right now and you're in a stalemate, you know, maybe you're not happy doing what you've been doing. Maybe you've been in a certain job, or maybe you're already in sales somewhere, but you're like, I'm just not being fulfilled. I'm not seeing the reward that I think I should see. You know, that's the thing. You come to us, I think we give you a breath of fresh air. In this business, we teach you how to write your own paycheck, which means you're not limited to a salary or something. But, you know, we work really, really hard and we form other relationships, but along with that, we get to go spend time with each other. We travel, we have fun. I was just in the Dominican Republic a week ago and there with just my family, and there was 19 other people that I knew at another resort, and they came over to our resort and spent the whole day with us. And that was people that I work with. That was a referral partner and a business partner of mine, and it's just a cool feeling that when you spread yourself far and wide and you create really, really cool relationships, that at Empower Financial Group, those kind of relationships and family feelings come to fruition, that you can be in another country and realize, hey, I got some other friends at a resort down the road, and you spend the whole day with them. But, you know, if you check us out at Empower Financial Group and what that looks like, if you ever really wanted to figure out, like, hey, I just want more out of life, and I want more out of my career, and I want to make more money, but it's not always about money. You want to be fulfilled knowing that you feel like you're accomplishing something and winning every day, instead of just going through the monotonous motions of what Robert Kiyosaki would say is going through the rat race. If you want to get out of the rat race and feel like you're building a business and accomplishing more than you've ever accomplished, I would say check us out at Empower Financial Group.
And how do people, you know, get to know more about us? How can they learn more about what we do here?
I'd say we've got some new agents that just reached out that we've been working with, and you know, the first thing is I have them come sit down and I show them, just like I show a client, what we do from front to back, and say, hey, in your personal life, would this be a help to you? And then if you want to know what the next step is to really get to the next level, then we'll show you the next steps.
Awesome. Well, I think that's about it. All I had. I was thinking maybe going to the random thoughts segment.
Random
ready for
thoughts. Man, I've got a bunch of them, but I got out of my vehicle the other day at a store, and I looked into the vehicle next to me, and it's kind of like the bathroom, right? You know, a few weeks ago we talked about crazy stuff going on in bathrooms, but
Yeah.
have you ever looked in some cars and you're just like there's barely enough room to sit in the driver's seat, and the back is mounted with newspapers and milk jugs and like literally packed to the max. Have you ever like I always have lived in this mentality, if you can tell a lot about a person's livelihood and personal hygiene by looking in their vehicle and seeing what it looks like in their vehicle. And I preach this to my kids all the time, like, dude, clean your truck, keep it vacuumed, keep it organized. But I just wonder what goes on in some people's lives that, I mean, it looks like there's McDonald's bags from like 20 years ago crammed, and they never unload. They just keep cramming in there. Like, are they saving something, or are they going to dig back to the bottom of the floorboard on the other side that they haven't seen in like 10 years? I'm just blown away about what I see in people's vehicles when I'm getting out of my vehicle sometimes at a store and I'm walking. I'm like, holy cow, what's going on in that person's life?
Yeah, I got a little stressed out after Colorado because my car was, you know, I had dirt on the WeatherTech mats and I had some trash in there. I got it detailed, but yeah, I can't imagine, because I mean, I spend probably an hour at least a day in my car driving to and from work. I can't imagine like spending time in such a setting where it's trashed. You know what I mean?
I can't even go on a road trip without making sure my vehicle's cleaned out, everything's organized, and I've got like a refreshing space. But I'm just wondering, like, if their car looks like that, wonder what their home looks like.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I've always thought, I feel like you can tell a lot about somebody's home scenario by looking in their car. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some people have immaculate homes and their car is just like where everything ends up. I don't know, but that was just a random thought.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on how much someone travels too. Because I mean, I know you travel a lot. Your car is always clean, but like if you're just always hitting the road every single day, you know, so I guess sometimes it'd be easy to like let it slip up a little bit. But there's some you see and you're like, what happened? Like, how do you let it get this bad?
Yep.
Which I mean, I can kind of understand because when I moved my dorm out, and all I had was my Mustang. Mom and Dad didn't come up, and so it was just I had the front seat piled up to the roof, the back seats piled up. I had the back seats down.
Yeah, but that was temporary.
That was for a day. Yeah, it took.
I mean, some of these people, as old as that car is, or as long as they've owned it, it's looked like that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that, you know, some people just don't clean their cars.
And the smell, you know, I wonder what it smells like.
Yeah, I don't want to smell my McDonald's from a week ago. That doesn't seem like a very good smell.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Petrified is what they call it. Petrified chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's about all I had.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for listening. You'll see us next week, hopefully.